Hi everyone, welcome to Keeping the Real in Real Estate. I'm Trisha Farron and I'm a real estate agent with William Ravis in Newtown, Connecticut, and I serve mostly the Connecticut market. Back in the early January, I kind of gave some idea of how the market was in comparison to what the media was saying. Over the last 4 weeks, I have been really digging my heels deeply and entrenched in all sorts of different things, juggling all sorts of different transactions and chuckling at where is the media getting this information. I think that they're only talking about pieces of it and not really seeing what is happening, certainly not happening in a regional basis. What's happening with the country could be totally different, but I can tell you I was just in Tennessee and we're looking at property there and we're faced with some of the same dilemmas as we are in the Northeast. Low inventory and lots of demand, which is keeping the prices stable and making it difficult for buyers to make a purchase. So I wanted to explain a little bit more about what's been happening in the last 4 weeks. So currently I'm in the middle of 7 transactions. 4 of them are buyers and 3 sellers. And I find the dynamic with my buyers pretty interesting. One of my buyers is coming from a house that's already paid for, perfectly suited for his family in terms of its size, its renovation level, its location, everything about it. It's a beautiful house and beautifully maintained. You walk through and you do a lot of oohs and ahs when you go through this house. So there's no forced reason for him to move. His basement is finished and he works out of his lower level. So it's not even a work thing. But he found a property that met every one of his desires. So here's what's happening with him. He is going to sell his home, and he is going to purchase a house of which he'll need to get a mortgage that's 3 times the value of his current home. The house itself is also 3 times the size. So we're talking about increasing his maintenance, his taxes, his holding costs for the property. All things he does not have to do, but he wants to do it. And he's willing to accept today's market dynamics to get what he wants. And this is not dissimilar with all my buyers. Yes, they're being a little bit more apprehensive. They're nervous. They don't want to take on a bigger nut that they can carry for a monthly mortgage. They don't want to get something and then have to spend thousands renovating. But that's no different than what any buyer is going to want at any time in their life. Who wants to overpay? Who wants to get a money pit where now they can't even enjoy their house? But that's not what's happening. People want to move. There are so many buyers out there, and they want to find a home. Some are getting out of the city still, and some are just trying to either get out of a rental situation or they need to upsize or downsize. There are needs that life is bringing to them that are causing them to want to make this kind of real estate decision. And I will tell you, of the other 3 buyers that I have, they're all different price points. They're all different towns. Their dynamics are completely different. And in all 3 cases, we were in multiple bid situations. And no, we didn't get these properties because we promised their firstborn, their retirement account, and $1 million for a property worth $250. We went in smart. We did our research to see what was comping out, and we presented offers that offered the least amount of risk to the sellers, and we got them. And it happens over and over and over. And this is what has been happening out there. As far as my sellers are concerned, yes, I would love to see many more sellers out there. However, there are properties going on the market. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about today is for you people who are thinking about selling your property to put your head in the right space. You need to stop thinking that, first of all, you put your house on the market and within a couple of hours you're going to have 20 offers. That's no longer a thing. Yes, the listings that I have offers on them, and we're moving to that closing point for those properties. But we had to do an open house. We had many showings. In some cases, we had people come back multiple times before they made a decision. That's a more normal situation. Now, it does happen in a more condensed time frame, not 2 hours, maybe 2 weeks. which is still fantastic. I mean, to be able to say you put your house on the market and within 2 weeks you have an accepted offer, I mean, people, please, let's put our expectations back in check. So you sellers, that's one thing. Make sure that you understand the timing is not as quick as it was before, but that doesn't mean that what we're experiencing is slow. I remember when I first started, it would be like a 90 days on market, 60 to 90 days. I mean, now a 30-day to 45-day on market, that's a tight time frame. A lot needs to be done during that time. Just to get your house ready to pack and move, you're going to need that time. The other thing is to be realistic about the presentation of your house. And I know that not everybody has the same level of what they think is clean or organized or cluttered or renovated even. I could tell you when I go through a house, I'm looking as if I were a buyer, and I'm looking to see what's that crack. Ew, there's fingerprints on the door, there's dust everywhere, or it's kind of cluttered. People look at beautiful decor and think that this is a nicer house because the decor is pretty. So if you go around your house and you say, would you buy it in the case that it's in right now? If the answer is, I don't know, then you've got some work to do. And it doesn't mean that you have to spend a ton of money. I mean, a bottle of Clorox and some Windex could go a long way. And I tease, because of course my level of clean is up to here. And my family can attest that makes living with me very, very difficult. But I like order and I like cleanliness. So there are things that I see that maybe the average Joe doesn't see. But go around, make sure all your light bulbs are the same color light bulb. You hate going into one room and having it bright white, and then you go into another room and it's soft white. And worst case, you go and there's multiple color bulbs in one light. That's terrible. Fix it. It doesn't cost a lot to fix. Fix it. Go around to every doorknob and every light switch and clean it. Because I guarantee if you started to walk around your house and you saw that, you'd be appalled at how disgustingly dirty some of these can be, especially if you have small kids. They walk around the wall and they touch the wall and there's like a darker streak. Those things can just be buffed out really quick, and you don't need to paint the whole house in order to do it. If you're going to be selling your house, you're going to be moving. So start packing. It's not going to kill you to take your tchotchkes out or to take your photos out that are, showcasing your family reunions for the past 15 years. They're beautiful. I'm not discrediting how valuable they are, but a buyer doesn't care about your family pictures. They care about, is that wall going to be a beautiful wall for me to put a piece of art or to hang a tapestry or to put my own personal pictures? And this is not anything new. People always talk about declutter, 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 but what does that actually mean? If it means getting a pod and storing some stuff in there, no one's going to fight you and say, oh my God, there's a pod in the driveway, so I don't want this house. Instead, they're going to walk through the house and say, wow, this is so airy and light and bright. That's what we want. You also need to make your house accessible for the buyers. I've had sellers where it's like the moon has to be facing a certain angle and a certain luminescence in order for them to say, okay, now's a good time to show the house. Well, if you make it difficult, they're going to move on to another house and you're going to lose out on some opportunities. I think it's a little bit on the arrogant side that sellers have, because we went a couple of years where they really didn't have to do anything other than pitch a sign that said for sale, and boom, 1 million people would come with offers. Since that's not the case anymore, you do have to do a little bit more work to make your home presentable. People are still looking at it online first and forming opinions and judgments. I hear a lot of buyers say, I don't trust the pictures. It doesn't show everything. So I like to do a video walkthrough and make sure that people can really see all the nooks and crannies and try and get the rooms in more perspective than what a photograph could give. That being the case, when you look around your room, understand that there's media that's going to capture that room. Is it presented in a way that makes best sense? Now, I'm not saying everybody knows how to do this and feels comfortable. That's why you bring in a real estate agent, someone like me. When we go through the listing appointment, the very first thing I do is go through every single room in the house and we make a list and we talk about, if possible, can you do these things, which most times they don't cost anything. Simple things like, I open this door, it's squeaky, so put a little grease on the hinge. Get rid of some of these toys. Declutter some of your closets. Clean the counters and the backsplash in the kitchen because it looks a little greasy and grimy. Simple things. Clean the windows. Dust out the drapes because you can see on top. All that kind of stuff not only makes it look fresher, but it also makes it smell better. Spraying room deodorizer is, helpful. It's too cold now, but come spring, open the windows. Get fresh air. Turn on the fans. These are simple things that when somebody comes in, it's like, And since we are in the cold weather, if it happens to start snowing, make sure your walks are shoveled. Make sure your steps are salted. The last thing you want is somebody falling or seeing that, oh my gosh, it's going to be difficult for them now to maintain this house come wintertime. We want to show how easy it is to live in your house. So as far as setting expectations for sellers, I'm hoping that I'm getting my point across that you understand there are plenty of buyers out there and they do want to buy. They're being a little bit more picky, so be patient. It's okay. You as a seller will have a place to go. You get to still control the timing of your close. If you want to rent back, or there's other options so that it doesn't leave you in a bind that, oh my goodness, you've sold your house and now you have to move and there's no place to go. There are a host of options, and since it is your house, you do not need to approve a timeline that doesn't work for you. And we can talk about that. And don't misrepresent what your house is. I know you love your house. Everybody, for the most part, loves their house. You have memories that you've built and things that you've done with it that give you that warm feeling. And I appreciate that. But when it comes to getting real, which is what I do, I don't really care how you feel about your house. I care about what a buyer feels about your house. So I'm going to be straight with you. And if I say that's not going to work, you need to take it out. It's not because I'm trying to change the way in which you manage your house. It's because I'm trying to present it in the best light so that you get the highest price in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of grief. So that's my story for today. I hope that you can get a better insight into what's actually happening in the marketplace, and certainly in Connecticut, and a little bit in Tennessee as well, since that has been something that I've been experiencing, because I went down there we're looking at land, and we're in the same situation. There are few lots available, and if we want one, we have to make a decision quickly. My daughter's going to be moving down there as well, and right now inventory is very light, so I'm kind of giving her some guidance about how to go about shopping in a tight market like this and setting her expectations. And I think that if everybody is a little bit more understanding and a little bit more patient, we'll all have an opportunity to make the decisions that we want to make and feel good about it. So I hope this was helpful, and I would love to hear your feedback, and if there's other questions that you have, give me a post, shout out. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. Let me know your thoughts, and I'd be happy to respond as quickly as I can. Until next time, thank you for listening.